Having gone through all of the new High Elf units, it's now time to go through the Greenskin units. Now we'll be covering Grom the Paunch, his new DLC units, and then all the new campaign units that have been added with some of the WoD trophies that we covered in the Greenskin rework just the other day. So, like I said before, we'll just be going through Grom, DLC, and then ending this whole section with the campaign units, followed by a small battle putting all these units together to see how they all work. Here we have it, Niblet and Grom, just slavering over there. Grom is so disgusting. Look at him. Oh, man. So Grom's got quite the little kit here. Now, he is, of course, a Greenskin Goblin War Boss. And with that, he gets a really nice set of abilities. So he's got Lucky Banner, which is going to give 40 melee attack and 40% damage resistance to Grom. And I'm going to talk about why that's so good in just a little bit here when we talk about his bound ability. So that's for 30 seconds. It's quite nice. Now he also gets Axe of Grom, which increases weapon damage and AP damage by 50%. Taking a look up here, up at his weapon profile, he's got a a base damage of 290 with AP damage of 140. He's going to increase both of those values by 50% to be quite deadly. And he's also got a bonus versus infantry, so he's going to be riding dirty through the whole entire land over there. In addition, though, he's also going to reduce armor by 30 and sunder that armor. Sunder armor is reduction by 30 is what I'm trying to say. So for 10 seconds, they're going to have sundered armor, and it's going to be way easier for him to do way more damage from just his base damage alone, since you can see that his AP damage is not that significant by comparison to the base. Now he also gets the Great Unzizir. Now this is going to give a massive bonus to his allies in range, 20 seconds here, 40 meter radius, 16 leadership, 30% base weapon damage bonus, plus 24 melee attack. You can stack that with the WoD ability over here to really just get so much value. Looking at it, it's like what, 75% total base weapon damage, 24 plus, what was this one? Plus another 24, so it's basically a double WoD more or less if you want to put them together, or if you want to use the WoD ability and then trigger the Great Unzizir. As long as anything, of course, within that radius are going to get this ability. So you can really just get a huge value train from those two in conjunction, or even right after one another. Now, I talked about this one, the damage resistance. Well, he also gets this ability, Language of Du Bois. So this is going to increase, in anything in the 30 meter radius around Grom the Paunch is going to get 5 melee defense, 4 leadership, and immune to psychology. So you really have a lot of stacking benefits for Grom. And although he is a chariot, you want to pull chariots through combat, that's a given. But Language of Du Bois is only effective or active if he's in melee combat. So he needs to stay in melee combat for this thing to kick off. Then you're good to go with this ability to keep his damage resistance up while he's in melee combat with the Lucky Banner. Then you can even use the Great Unzizir to get further benefit, to basically between these two abilities full on create another WoD ability, because WoD gives you that immune to psychology. He also has regeneration. He's going to have his typical encourage that you would expect from a lord, and then a missile resistance of 15%. Armor-wise, 100, 70 leadership, 84 speed, melee attack at 40, and then again a melee defense at 30, which seems quite low, but when you take a look at all of his abilities, he's going to be able to stack all that stuff up so nicely. Let's move over to the new hero for the Greenskins. It's like she's even more repulsive than Grom herself. I feel like I'm going to get demonetized from this thing alone because it's just so ugly. Look at the like translucent, like undulation of her skin. Like, that is so gnarly. So we have a new Deathcaster for the Greenskins in the Giant River Troll Hag. And she's got quite a few amount of abilities. She gets the Assault Stone and the Blast Scrolls in multiplayer. I just wanted to showcase these on her scrolls so you can see that they're there. But she also has Swamp Breath, a nice powerful breath attack, very similar to what we get from Throg and what we get from the art of all the river trolls. In addition, we've got Mither. 72% charge speed and 72% speed reduction. So basically, this is like a Master Wrath and Ruin rune attached to this character. Really sick. In addition to, we also have Overwhelming Odor. So everything in a radius around her, 30 meters to be exact, gets a reduction to their melee attack by 6. I think she's such an awesome utility lord here, and she really can play heavily into a Greenskins playthrough where you're trying to focus heavily on a troll-centered build. Also, again, you're going to get regeneration, as to be expected, and then causes fear, Oops, and then you also get a missile resistance of a whopping 15% there. Also, her damage profile is pretty good here for a caster. She's very similar to the Famir Balefiend as far as her overall combat competency goes. 25 melee attack, 32 melee defense. A low leadership at 55 to be expected here from a troll, with 50 armor as well, and again that 360 weapon strength. Let's jump over to some of the other trolls in this list. And furthering the disgusting motif of the greenskins, we have the river and the stone troll. Like, look at these guys. They probably smell as bad as they look. This DLC comes complete with brand new belly lint, as showcased here by the stone troll. It's not a high AP anti-large damage ability, but it does reduce leadership significantly. So let's take a look at the stats of these bad boys, because they're pretty beefy, actually. So looking at the river trolls, we get a very similar carbon copy, more or less, from the Troll Hag, right? We get that same breath attack. We're going to have an AP weapon-centric character here with 80 weapon strength. And how much total AP damage from this? 50 AP damage, so a lot more AP than base weapon damage, with 12 in the unit as well. It's going to have regeneration as you would expect, and it's going to cause fear. Low armor, low leadership, things to be expected from the trolls. But let's take a look at the stone trolls, because they kind of shore up some of those weaknesses. And river trolls, though, also have 30 melee attack and 40 weapon or melee defense. Now, looking over here to the stone trolls, and I'm just going to hover over the river trolls so we can see the comparison of stats. So you're going to get 30 more armor. You're going to get 6 more melee attack, but you're going to lose on some melee defense when you're looking at the stone trolls. Also, you're going to get a significant increase in weapon strength, 40 weapon strength and 10 more charge bonus. So while the river trolls might have more melee defense, the stone trolls have more armor coming out of those big rock hide lint bellies that they've got over there. Looking at their weapon strength too, we can see that it's got a lot of AP, 81 AP versus and 39 base weapon damage. It is a troll, so it's going to have regeneration, going to cause fear, but we also get some other nice little abilities here. 25 magic resistance because it is a stone troll. In addition to that, we're also going to get 30% missile resistance. And I'm going to keep scrubbing the left side of the board clearly here. And we didn't get any missile resistance on the river trolls. The stone trolls are, again, going to be very stocky, a lot more of a stalwart unit here versus the swamp things, which is river troll regiment renown. God, they look exactly like gremlins. Like, look at that. They look exactly like gremlins from the movie Gremlin. I love it. So these have poison attacks. That's going to be their biggest change here, as well as causing terror. Now, they are a rank 9 version of river trolls, so they're going to get a bonus to their leadership, their melee attack, and their melee defense as well. But an interesting choice here, because these guys will be able to do some poison damage, slow things down, and be able to kind of crump them a little bit harder and cause terror. I think their biggest issue, though, is they're going to have pretty low leadership. So these things getting swamped on the tabletop is going to mean that they're going to get taken out pretty quickly, because their armor is still only 40, and they have no physical, missile, or magic resistance. I think the river trolls, with the nice breath attacks, which, while they are cool, I'm sorry, that's not the breath attack. It's the overwhelming odor. I thought that was the breath attack icon. So no breath attack, just overwhelming odor. I'm sorry, I spoke in error just a little bit ago. So they're going to get at least the reduction to melee attack, which should actually help with their low armor, since they have such a high amount of melee defense at 50. But let's jump over to one of the other new units that is the biggest centerpiece unit of this Greenskin DLC. And look at these bad boys. The new rogue idols of Gork and or Mork, whichever one it is, are just a colossus. And they add so much to the Greenskins play. So the way that these guys really work is, the more they take damage, the more damage they do. They've got these 3 cascading abilities: Rubble and Ruin 1, 2, and 3. And they kick off at 75, 50, and 25% health. And the way they work is they bombard the area around the unit. It will also do damage to allies, so I've got to be mindful of that. But it'll increase AP weapon damage by 30%. And it will reduce their armor by 30. So they'll do more damage the more damage they take, but they will also take more damage the more damage they take. And they go on a rampage. So while these things do obviously a crippling amount of damage at 600 weapon strength with AP and anti-infantry, they will continue to do even more damage the more damage they take, but they will also be somewhat easier to kill, relatively by comparison at least. They also have another map-wide ability, though, called the Spirit of Gork or Mork. And this gives 4 leadership as long as they are above 25% health to the entire map of Greenskins, making them just pretty juicy here. Like, look how huge they are. Here's for comparison. Here is the hag next to them. So the hag is still about to that knee length, but that's a troll we're talking about. Like, these things are huge. So you'll be able to see them in battle as they kind of get hot and heavy when we do this one after that. But they also have some missile resistance of 15%, and they naturally cause terror. Have 150 armor amongst the top tier of armor right there. 75 leadership, a really good melee attack at 60, so they'll be able to do damage if not very slow and cumbersomely. But 20 melee defense, meaning that they're going to take a lot of hits, and especially when they get low in armor, those hits are going to be way more value against them. So let's get this disgusting hag out of the way so I can look at the Regiment Renown version. Regiment Renown is the big un, and he is equally as cool. And he's just covered in effigies, and I love it. I just love it. So he also has a ranged attack. He's basically like a Cygor that is a rogue idol. So looking at his stat card here, 414 missile weapon damage from this bad boy at a 13-second reload. He's just going to be hucking portions of himself downrange. He has the same stat line as far as everything else goes with his abilities as the normal unit here. You can see that's the big difference though is this ability, Rock Bottom. So he's going to replenish ammunition, but he's going to pull it from himself. Throwing bits of yourself at the enemy is either a sign of great determination or seeing their stupidity. So he's going to rip off chunks of himself, do damage, and increase his ammunition, which is only at 10 at the start of the fight. So it's a really great way to get continued value out of the big gun, who is naturally, though, he is going to be a much higher rank version of a rogue idol. It's going to give him more melee defense, more melee attack, and more leadership by comparison. And also, his health is about the same too, so it's 12,000 across the board. But again, he's going to be a ranged version of the rogue idol, and he is sick. Moving on here to the Snotling Pump Wagons, last unit of our DLC before we jump into the campaign units. Now, these guys have a lot of different variations. The first one is just a Snotling Pump Wagon. It has AP anti-infantry damage, very low melee attack and melee defense, decent amount of speed at 60, and low armor at 50 and 50 leadership. Now, the big thing here, though, is they have Pump Harder Lads, and this increases this unit's ability to knock back enemies while active, and it will last for 25 seconds and recycle every 60 seconds. The big thing here is you can't be charging. You can't just right-click, double right-click a unit, have it charge towards them, and expect this to activate. You actually have to path through the unit, is what it seems like. It gives charge speed, and then a charge bonus pretty significantly. So then the next one, though, are these Snotling Pump Wagon Flappas. Now, by comparison here, we're just getting a simple stat line bonus. 5 leadership, 10 speed, 6 melee attack, 2 melee defense, and 30 charge bonus. So the Flappas are going to do more damage on the charge, obviously. That's going to be the big gain here. They also have Strider. The nice thing, too, about Snotling Pump Wagons is they're expendable, so as they die, it's not going to be affecting your morale. And they're quite cheap. These are a lot of very easy-to-access War Machine-style chariot units you can just rip through the enemy with. And lastly, we've got the Snotling Pump Wagons with spiky rollers. Look at these things. Oh, Jesus. And they are going to be causing fear. They're going to have the same ability here, Pump Harder Lads, as you would expect, but they also now get Sunder Armor. So the Greenskins will have access to a very cheap, affordable way to add Sunder Armor to units outside of the Rusty Errors. You can use these guys, and they're not Regiments of Renown, and just really kind of roll through the opposition with Sunder Armor and bring the rest of your army in to really just kind of punch into them. Then we've got the Regiment Renown, Logie Bogies, Spore Splodin, Snotling Pump Wagons. This is just the default version of the Snotling Pump Wagon, and it has this little ability right here, Giant Explodin Spores. This is straight out of the 8th edition rulebook, that these things are just going to be causing a lot of damage here. They're going to explode and do some damage and just rip things up. Pretty cool little Easter egg about these. They're named after Rich, the head of the DLC portion for Total War Warhammer 2, named after his son. Logie Bogie is not the name of his son, Logan. But the Snotling Pump Wagon War Machine with spiky rollers, they do have a little bit more health than the other ones, 750 to be exact. And you can see that there's some benefits of these guys and some detractors, right? So looking at these guys, 60, 60, 60 across armor, speed, and leadership with 30 melee attack and 22 melee defense, 55 weapon strength, and 40 charge bonus. Looking at the Flappas, we're obviously going to lose that massive charge bonus and the benefit of speed that we've got from the Flappas themselves, but we're also going to gain melee attack, we're going to gain leadership, armor, and a significant amount of hit points, as well as weapon strength. So there's always a trade-off when it comes to jumping to these Sunder Armoring Snotling Pump Wagon Spiky Rollers. And here are the new campaign units for Grom the Paunch, or really any FLC lore. These are part of the reward system from the new WoW mechanic. And I've kind of grouped these guys in the bottom here according to their trophy size. This is the smallest two. These are the middle size, and these are the largest ones. So we're going to go through them. I'm going to go through the Lava Spider Riders because they're right here, and they're probably one of my favorite new units for the Greenskins. These guys are basically going to be doing flaming damage. They're the same thing as your normal Spider Rider archers. You're going to do poison damage, but now again, you've got flaming damage on both your melee attacks from the spiders themselves, because these are lava spiders, and you have got flaming shots from their bows, and AP. So these guys are actually pretty damn awesome, especially in campaign when you're going to be pulling these guys up from the medium trophy size to really do some good damage. Now we'll jump back over there to the armored squig hoppers. These guys are quite sick. I actually really dig the armored squig. It looks really cool. Like, look at like the mail on it and like the beat up chain. Like, it looks really sick. And basically you're just looking at a much higher armored unit here, immune to psychology here. Melee defense and melee attack are about the same from what I remember, and you're looking at AP, anti-infantry, poison attacks coming out of these armored squig hoppers. Now you've got a new suicide unit, the Super Squig. Now this is not the colossal squig I know a lot of us were hoping for, but instead we get an exploding monster. The squigs go boom, and it just blows up as soon as it jumps into melee combat. So this should be pretty interesting to see. It's basically like adding a rotting zombie here to the roster for the Greenskins. Now we've got two new feral units in the Feral Wyvern and a Feral Hydra. Nothing new or unique about these aside from the fact that they're feral versions in the Greenskin roster. But there's one thing you should take a look at. Most feral units have Rampage built into them. It's not here. Not here either. So both the Feral Wyvern and the Feral Hydra do not have Rampage. They will continue to act as you want them to without issue, which is a very strong boon, especially for the Greenskins who do suffer from a lot of leadership issues. The last thing here is the Lava Arachnarok Spider. Look at that badass. It's got this Arachnaruption ability, which we'll take a look at in just a little second here, and then Thermal Thorax, which causes damage to combatants. So you basically get a Mortis Engine effect out of this thing for things being too close to it. 30-meter radius. It's got to be in combat here, but I really, really, really like this ability here for the Ragnarok Spider. I think it's going to be really awesome. It's going to be doing flaming attacks. It's going to be doing AP damage. It's going to do poison attacks. It's going to do everything. So we have a lot of really awesome stuff coming with this DLC. Let's go ahead and move these units out of the way a little bit. Let's put them over there. You big boys over here. And then we will start this battle and take a look at the Arachnaruption. And there it goes. Just shooting all over the place. Quick little blast of damage, doing a lot of damage, and it ignores armor, which is quite nice. A lot of big things with Ragnarok Spiders is they can be focused down very easily, but this will also do a little bit of damage to her. Like it says here, it bombards the area around the caster, most effective when surrounded. And Ragnarok Spiders are typically very hard to keep online. This should help you at least do that, especially since it also does ignore armor. Let's see all these constituent parts put together in a battle. And now it's time to see these Greenskins in action. So I'm not the best Greenskin player. I'm not even going to lie about that. But we've got, we're playing against style plays yet again, doing some dwarf action, and we've gone with a front line of orc boys and nasty skulkers. I pretty much just kind of went with a budget front line to try and squeeze in as many of the big scary things as we could. We've got a giant river troll with both soul blight and spirit leech. We're going to be seeing some stone troll action, because I definitely wanted to see them, and they do way more AP damage than the river trolls. And 2 units of night goblin archers. Of course, the big un, the rogue idol regiment of renown, in conjunction with 2 units, 3 Snotling Pump Wagons, Grom the Paunch himself, and that's pretty much it. So we'll see how this goes. It is against the dwarf, so let's just throw a reckless abandon to the wind here. All right, let's just get everyone moving forward. There's no reason to kind of beat off on the bush or whatever it's called. Oh, man, that big one's already just chucking down range too. I love it. Dwarf warriors, okay. Go with the hammer. Let's start shooting into the air. These are blasting charges, so we'll try and eat those with the orc boys. Archers onto this. There, get that over there. Let's come around. Yeah, just go ahead and jump on in. Why not, lady, huh? Grom is just getting heckled over there. I gotta push around, do that over there. Get these Snotling Pump Wagons into the back over there. Get these nasty skulkers right into there as best we can. Alright, let's get this this 3 over onto a Thorgrim. Try and get some value in this. Got a little Soul Blight. Right on through, big boy. Oh! Oh, come on! Get through, Grom. Stop being so damn heavy all the time. Okay, come right there, jump right into that. Snotling Pumps. Snotling Pumps. And again, we can tell my micro has completely fallen off here. In the time I have not been playing the game consistently. Pump wagon just kind of bulldozing through there, exploding all over the place. Bringing these guys back into the fight because they are trolls, like they do. Here, you're coming up into this. Get you in the fight. Oh, just chucking down range. I love it. I want that. I want this big Mamma Jambo to start doing some fighting over here. Push Grom through this. Get some vomit going on these dwarf warriors. Do it. Throw up, you disgusting... Oh! God. Look at Thorgrim coming after me all dirty like too. Not like Pump Wagons are actually doing some pretty amazing amount of just like passive damage. I didn't expect them to be this fun, to be totally honest. Okay, come there. 3, let's push 3 right onto Thorgrim right there. These are the grudge bearers, but we'll have to just kind of deal with that. Flying pumps. Over here, charging the guys with me. Big Papa, come on, do some damage. Impress me with your impressiveness. Charge on in. I want this big guy to start dueling Grom, or I'm sorry, not Grom. Thorgrim ASAP. Okay, I think our River Troll's coming back here. Look at the slow, ponderous movements of this bad boy. I'll just kind of get back around. This thing is so sick. We're pushing through, we'll smash through these guys. 3, 2, ah, I love it. He just gorilla slams into the ground. All right, looks like Dobbs won this one yet again. just wanted to go with a fun build here, trying to bring all the big, fun, cool things with the Greenskins. And that Rogue Idol is awesome. Now, I think the Regiment of Renown version is fun. I think it's a little bit more matchup dependent here. I just wanted to see what it was like throwing some big old boulders down range. And of course, really, I would have not gone with a wide Orc Boys Nasty Skulkers line. But I really wanted to show off some Stone Troll action. I wanted to do some river trolls. And I'll be honest, these things actually did a little bit better than I thought they were. They didn't get a ton of kills, but they actually lasted longer than I thought they would. And Grom himself did a considerable amount of damage at around 60 kills. I wasn't doing a good job of microing him through things, so that is really going to bog him down and have him take damage. But do remember, he does have an activatable ability that's going to give him a 44% damage resistance, so he can at least stay in the fight a lot longer. And the Stone Trolls, they needed to be better anchored by my front line. They were kind of out on their own, caught between 3 or 4 Dwarf Warriors, so they weren't really able to come online properly. But if you do want to see more battles here from the Greenskins perspective, please head on over to Dovplay's channel. He just covered a ton of Greenskins battles in the past weekend, showcasing a lot of the really cool effects with all the wall capabilities, and he's been streaming as well through the new Greenskin campaign. So please, please, please head on over to Dovplay's channel. You'll find a link to that in the description and in the comments below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a cool comment about what you're enjoying the most, again, about the new Warden and the Paunch DLC. Maybe something that you're most excited about or least excited about. I'd love to kind of get some opinions from the community on what their thoughts have been so far on this DLC. But once more, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one. And if you haven't purchased the DLC, you can actually use the link in my description below, and you'll get a small discount on that, and I'll actually get a 10% commission, which is a huge boon to me, and it's a great way to support the channel. But as always, guys, thank you so much. Have a good one, and take care.